This is one of those weeks where it looks like a lot of important things are going to be happening in crypto. Unfortunately, they all seem to be related to crime and justice. One of the things happening could be the beginning of a series of events that really shakes up the top 10 crypto rankings and is systemically super consequential for the whole crypto landscape. This is the part where someone always cues all of the crypto bros. Hey, they're arresting all of our guys because the evil fiat illuminati cabal doesn't want crypto to overtake the dollar. That's not exactly what's going on here. It's something much more organic, but the impact might still be just as big. Ready? Let's go. Today, we're going to discuss the SBF arrest in the Bahamas, but then we're going to talk about the real news that the DOJ may be close, or getting closer at least, to filing charges against Binance and maybe even CZ for violations of money laundering, sanctions, and other rules. We'll also talk about the massive outflows from Binance that have happened over the last day, the SEC trying to get in on the SBF pummeling, and the Pavia Plaza live event going down December 14th, Wednesday. If you look at the statue and think to yourself that crypto has been getting a little bit more of the sword and a little bit less of the scales over the last little bit, or if you're finding value in these videos each weekday, please consider delegating to the Army of Spies stake pool, ticker AOS. First up, tomorrow, Wednesday, December 14th, is going to be a special event on this channel. I will be live streaming the Pavia Plaza live event along with Jay Crypto, Subcritical, and Timmy from Cardano Ecosystem News. This should be a really fun event. So the timing of this is a little bit confusing. I'm going to tell you when my live stream is going to be happening first, and then we'll talk about the times you're seeing on the screen right now, which are different in some cases. And I'll explain why. So my live stream is going to be this one, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So my live stream should be 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. UTC, 1 p.m. Sydney time. So double check my conversions. I could definitely be wrong on any of those, but I think those are the right times. The reason why you see 3 8 p.m.s here is that it's a staggered event. These times obviously don't match up. This is 8 p.m. Korea time and Japan time, 8 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. CST, which are not three of the same times. These are three sort of different events. They wanted the live event to take place at a reasonable hour for different parts of the world. So they've kind of got a 1 hour Asia session, a 1 hour Europe session, and a 1 hour North America session that are all taking place at 8 p.m., even though that's actually three different times in these three different time zones. So mine again will be this 8 p.m. CST slot. Well, guys, it looks like the gears of justice are indeed turning in the FTX case. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York, which is to say the prosecutors for the Department of Justice, had this to post. Earlier this evening, Bahamian authorities arrested Samuel Bankman-Fried at the request of the U.S. government based on a sealed indictment filed by the Southern District of New York. We expect to move to unseal the indictment in the morning, and we'll have more to say at that time. The Attorney General of the Bahamas sort of simultaneously announced the arrest and said the Bahamas and the United States have a shared interest in holding accountable all individuals associated with FTX who may have betrayed the public trust and broken the law. While the United States is pursuing criminal charges against SBF individually, the Bahamas will continue its own regulatory and criminal investigations into the collapse of FTX. This is really interesting because even if things get completely focused on Sam Bankman-Fried in the United States, let's say Caroline, CEO of Alameda and SBF's former girlfriend, let's say Caroline was in fact in New York the other day when they took the snapshot of her in the coffee shop that we covered on this channel. Let's say she was in New York that day to talk to the Department of Justice about testifying against SBF. even if she's granted immunity in the United States, she's still got to think about the Bahamas, who's saying all individuals associated with FTX who may have betrayed the public trust and broken the law should be held accountable. I mean, she might be able to cut a deal with the Bahamas as well, but this is becoming kind of a complex thing for everybody associated with FTX. They've got to worry about multiple jurisdictions who are interested in prosecuting them. But of course, this is crypto. So while all of this is going on, people are also making posts like this. People expect him to be Epstein any day now. Better hope the cameras keep working in the jail. Of course, the SEC didn't want to get left out if everybody was just going to be pummeling Sam Bankman-Fried finally. So they'll be filing their own charges against SBF today. But that wasn't even really the important news today. This is the important news today. Reuters is reporting exclusive US Justice Department is split over charging Binance as crypto world falters. It was pretty much a foregone conclusion that SBF was going to be prosecuted. I think we all knew that SBF was going to spend some time behind bars. It was a little dismaying when he didn't get arrested right away, but this is going to be a complex prosecution, and it kind of makes sense that the U.S. Attorney's Office would take their time, try to figure out what they think really went on, and then file their indictment. And we'll find out tomorrow what they think is really going on when that indictment is unsealed. But I think this is the news that is potentially much more consequential to the entire crypto landscape. Let's look at this, and then we'll talk about why. So Reuters is reporting a few different things. Some DOJ prosecutors believe evidence justifies filing charges against executives, including CZ of Binance. DOJ officials have discussed possible plea deals with Binance's attorneys already, apparently. Binance is under investigation for possible money laundering and criminal sanctions violations. Binance says it has no insight into the inner workings of the U.S. Justice Department. This is kind of what you would expect. If you go to someone who is the target of a criminal investigation, you say, hey, what do you think? Are you guys being investigated for crimes? A smart answer is, I have no idea what the cops are thinking. I don't know what the cops are doing. I don't know what's happening inside the police department. I don't know. Of course, that's what they're going to say, especially if this investigation began in 2018. This has been going on for 4 years, at least 3 years and change. They've been investigating Binance. It's always been this thing. There were always these little hints here and there that the feds were after Binance. And of course, we all remember when Binance suddenly launched Binance US. And it was kind of predictable that this was purely in reaction to the threat from US regulators. But it sounds like it wasn't just the regulators they needed to be concerned with. They also had to worry about the Department of Justice. They're the ones who do the criminal stuff. And the charges that Reuters is reporting being involved in this investigation are unlicensed money transmission, money laundering conspiracy, and criminal sanctions violations. This is a really big deal, guys. This could have a huge impact on the entire crypto landscape. Binance is the biggest crypto exchange in the world. And out of the top 10 cryptocurrencies, 2 of them, BNB and Binance USD, the stablecoin, are related to Binance. We are in some momentous times when it comes to the crypto top 10 right now, guys. Aside from the 2 Binance related coins, of the coins between Cardano and Ethereum, we've got Doge, XRP, USDC, and Tether. There have been questions about Tether for years and years. Seemingly since its birth, people have been asking questions about Tether, and for many people, many of those questions are still unanswered. Then we've got XRP. At some point, we're expecting either a judgment or a settlement in the Ripple SEC case. Some rumors are indicating maybe we'll see something as early as Thursday in that case. Dogecoin seems to only be up here at the pleasure of Elon Musk. And while Elon does certainly seem to love Doge right now, love can sometimes be fleeting. So I think we could be in for a very interesting couple of years, maybe over the next couple of years. I think it'll be an interesting time watching the crypto top 10. While it would be nice to see some of the more ridiculous and more centralized assets get swept aside from the crypto top 10, I don't want to downplay the potential negative impact of anything happening to Binance. It was just last week that we saw heavy scrutiny of the Binance Reserve Report for its narrow scope. And this article reminds us Binance now dominates the crypto industry. The exchange processed trades worth around 1.6 trillion in October, about half of the entire crypto market's trading volume. That sum dwarfed its former challenger FTX, which handled 230 billion in trades that month, according to data site Crypto Compare. So we're all very, very concerned about FTX, and Washington is very, very concerned about FTX. But when we're talking about Binance, we're talking about a much larger entity, much, much larger. And we've already seen a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt about their reserve report. Everybody assumed their funds were safe, and now people are starting to ask questions. The very next week, we see this out of Reuters revealing that we kind of knew that there were things going on between the DOJ and Binance. This isn't the first we've heard about this, but it sounds like things are possibly much further along for the DOJ than I think a lot of us would have suspected. The one thing the article does point out, though, is that ultimately the Justice Department could bring indictments against Binance and its executives, negotiate a settlement, or close the case without taking any action at all. So this is just kind of another looming cloud in crypto that's going to be unresolved. Maybe we'll see some kind of resolution to this sometime soon. Maybe this will just continue lingering. So what is this? Is this the Wall Street Illuminati fiat cabal trying to knock crypto down a peg? Are they trying to take out our biggest exchange and our crypto bro CZ? No, I don't think that's what this is. I think this is a bureaucratic law enforcement entity, the DOJ, responding to what are probably just a bunch of organic complaints about the lawlessness of crypto exchanges in general. Not crypto exchanges like Kraken and Coinbase so much, although Kraken has also had its encounters with sanctions laws. I'll put it that way. I think this is more like all of the incumbent players who think they're in the same market, or they have the same kind of customers who are probably turning to something like a Binance. I think they're probably using a lot of their, lobbying dollars for sure to, they're using some of that time that buys them to make complaints about the lawless crypto space. You can bet some of the incumbent financial institutions, when they're talking to the politicians whose campaigns they have contributed to, for sure, they're using the words lawless and crypto in the same breath. And when asked to give examples, they probably give examples of something like a Binance, because Binance is so humongous. Any incumbent financial player would look at the amount of trade activity that Binance controls, and they would want that for themselves. So, of course, if they have an opportunity to say something bad about Binance, they're probably going to say something bad about Binance. And then politicians who may know nothing about crypto or tech or anything that we in crypto think we're a part of, they're going to say, hey, apparently there's this crypto exchange that's doing some gigantic amount of business, and they don't seem to be regulated at all. They seem to be completely lawless. Who knows what they're up to? And then an entity like the DOJ is going to have to take a look at a Binance. And unfortunately, if an entity as large as Binance doesn't have an extremely robust anti-money laundering program and an anti-sanctions violation program, they're going to make some little mistakes here and there. And that's probably the kind of stuff that the DOJ has uncovered in their investigation. But importantly, this article is about the DOJ. The prosecutors in the DOJ's office are split. In fact, the actual title of this article is U.S. Justice Department is split over charging Binance as crypto world falters. So that tells me that the violations they may or may not have uncovered probably aren't damning. It's probably not the most horrible stuff. Like CZ and Binance are probably not engaging in human slavery. They're probably not committing very terrible crimes. It sounds like possibly just some small violations of some AML and sanctions rules. Not that we shouldn't take sanctions and AML seriously. Definitely, we would like to keep funds out of the hands of, bad people in the world. But I think it's kind of telling. There's a line in this article that I think is a little bit telling, and maybe actually why the DOJ is having so much trouble deciding whether or not they should file charges in this case. That line is in this paragraph right here that begins, Binance's defense attorneys at U.S. law firm Gibson Dunn have held meetings in recent months with Justice Department officials. And these are those meetings where some of the sources indicate they were even discussing possible plea deals. So here's the line. Among Binance's arguments, a criminal prosecution would wreak havoc on a crypto market already in a prolonged downturn. What I wonder is if the DOJ got in there, they've been investigating Binance for 4 years. They get in there and they discover, sure, Binance didn't quite have a robust enough AML program. They didn't quite have a robust enough sanctions program. Some trades have probably gone through Binance that didn't comply with AML law or with the sanctions regime. And now the DOJ is faced with this choice. Go ahead and bring these charges, which, might do exactly what Binance is reported to be arguing here. They might wreak havoc on a crypto market already in a prolonged crypto winter, or they could not file the charges and, or reach some kind of a settlement with Binance where Binance says they will, create more robust programs to avoid those kind of violations in the future. I wonder if that's what's going on, because this would be a pretty high profile prosecution for the Department of Justice. But in fact, they're split over whether or not they should charge Binance on any of this, according to this report. But of course, the markets are already reacting to all this. CoinDesk dropped this article just tonight. Binance withdrawals surge as concerns about its reserve report spook traders. Binance endured 902 million of net outflows in the past 24 hours. This is a crazy large amount of funds flowing out of the exchange in excess of the amounts flowing into the exchange. And you notice they attribute this just to the reserve report. But when we come down here into the body of the article, the giant subheadline again is criminal charges against Binance ? And they're kind of noting the right thing though here. Binance is kind of getting hit from both directions. They say Binance released a report by auditing firm Mazars last week claiming that its Bitcoin reserves are over-collateralized. Industry experts and recent reports flayed the document for its narrow scope. And on Monday, Reuters reported that U.S. prosecutors are mulling criminal charges for possible money laundering against Binance and its executives, including CZ. To me, this is by far the biggest thing going on in crypto right now. The FTX thing, SBF, that's a done deal. The only question is whether we end up with an OJ, an Epstein, or a Madoff. Don't forget, tomorrow, Wednesday, December 14th, I will be in the Pavia live event and I will be live streaming it. You are all welcome to join the live stream. But in any case, I will talk to you tomorrow.